name is Matt Bezick, and I'm the Executive Director for the Oregon TRIO Association. And I'm here today to tell you about the TRIO Talent Search programs and how you, as a high school, can participate and get some additional federal funding to help support low-income and first-generation students in the pursuit of higher education. Quick as an overview, the Oregon TRIO Association is a nonprofit arm. We do not have any federal dollars, but we exist to support the TRIO programs here in Oregon and work to help expand the number of funded programs so that we can get into new communities, new populations that have underrepresented students who have all the potential in the world and just need some assistance. Today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the TRIO Talent Search programs, as well as informing you about what the processes are in applying for one of these grants, so that way your school and your students can benefit from its services. So your first question might just be, what is Talent Search? So at its core, the TRIO Talent Search program allows people to exist in the schools that do college and career advising for students that identify as low income or first generation. First generation meaning that the parents don't have a bachelor's degree. Regardless of whatever services that your school has to offer, whether it's counseling, whether you have a career center, whether you have other college access programs, TRIO is there to be a collaborative unit. Think of it as just free employee in your school to help those students who need the most help, who have the most barriers to their education. We are there to develop relationships and be that person. Most of us in our lives had that individual, whether it was a family member, a neighbor, somebody in your school structure, that person that asked you the question, what do you want to do after high school? What do you want to do with the rest of your life? What is your potential? And our job as TRIO professionals is to say yes, to help them have a clear vision of the person they want to be, and say yes and help them believe in the thing that they want to be, and lay out the map. We don't drag them along the road to success, but we help show them what the path looks like so that way they can be successful. So it is primarily relationships. TRIO professionals can provide that hands-on advising. They can do classroom presentations. You can help students complete FAFSAs and do financial aid workshops, help promote financial literacy. We can use funds to provide hands-on tutoring support for students who are in higher need. A lot of the work we do is doing field trips to go to colleges and campuses to help students actually be in the physical space they want to occupy and help envision a future for themselves in higher education. It's important to understand as well that talent search programs do not only work with seniors who are about to maybe go on to their next step. We start as early as sixth grade, so through middle school, through high school, helping students envision what careers are possible, what is possible through college and higher education. And when we say college, it doesn't have to be four-year. It can be community college. It can even be CTE programs. We want students to understand that additional training, additional education is a great next step towards their future. We help show them the path that leads them to that ultimate goal. For some context and just impact on the current talent search programs that we have here in Oregon, right now there's just shy of 5,000 students every single year who are enrolled in a talent search program in Oregon. Of those students, the seniors that were in that program from last year's cohort, 96% of them graduated high school on time. 73% of those seniors enrolled in a post-secondary education program. And of those seniors, 82% completed a FAFSA application. So we are here to reach the hardest to reach population and ensure that they are being successful and having the opportunity to pursue the higher education if that is what they so choose to. Next, I want to highlight what makes for a competitive school when it comes to applying for a new grant. This is a competitive process through the U.S. Department of Education, and you submit grants to get funding to serve your students, serve your school. So the metrics that the Department of Education is going to be looking for is that you can demonstrate significant need within your community. Need can be demonstrated through high percentage of free reduced lunch students, high poverty rates, high percent of low income, educational attainment, high absentee rate. We're trying to identify the communities that need more help and having the potential to use additional funds to get better outcomes for those students. As a school partner, you all have a lot of localized data on your students, on cohorts that have gone through, can help in the application process to show that you stand out, that there is a critical need, that additional funding, additional resources would be beneficial for your community, for your students that you serve. Now, one critical component to understand is that the applying institution for a talent search grant can be one of three entities. It can be a school district in and of itself who writes the application and then manages the grant. It can also be a nonprofit institution who's located in the community, who gets approval from local high schools to go in and provide these services. Or, in what is most common throughout all of the state of Oregon and nationally, is that a college, community college, university writes for the grant. So all of the staff employed through a talent search grant are employed through the institution, and they have partnerships and agreements with local high schools to come in and do the work locally. What this means as a high school partner is that you do not need to write the grant, you do not need to manage the data reporting or all of the additional work that comes with managing more staff and managing a large federal grant. Your role is just to provide access to the individuals in that grant who are there to serve the school. Providing access can look as simple as providing them with a district email, giving them access to Synergy for the elements that make sense so that they can provide those services, giving them a workspace, and just integrating them into staff meetings, into the other college and career professionals that work within your school system, so that way it can be a truly integrated process. The very best talent search programs are ones that work as a team and are really there as just free additional student support within your schools to make sure that the most vulnerable populations are still able to find success and navigate these complex systems on the way to higher education. This very video that I'm recording today, it is in part to educate you about what talent search is, but I also want to motivate you to want one of these in your schools. And if you want one of these TRIO programs in your schools, I want you to reach out to me. One of our primary goals within Oregon TRIO Association is to just facilitate these partnerships. If you're a school that would love to have a talent search program to serve middle schools and high schools, let us know and we will find that community partner if you do not have the capacity. Additional supports that we provide, once we have pairings and we've identified schools that we want to write for, we provide a lot of hands-on technical grant writing workshops as the expert in all things TRIO to ensure that the applications we're writing are highly competitive and are meeting the best practices that are typical within the TRIO community to ensure that you get full points with the Department of Education. As of right now, we do not actually have an official submission date or timeline. We know it's going to be in 2025. The earliest date it could be due is July. This past year, there's a college TRIO program called Student Support Services. That grant was due in the middle of July 2024. So we are anticipating a similar timeline going into 2025 for this talent search grant. However, it could be delayed as long as December, depending on the current whims and motivations of the Department of Education. But our support, our training, our outreach is all being done, assuming that we're looking at a July 2025 due date for this application. In the meantime, what we can be doing is preparing for the competition. That means we are doing data dives to look at census data, state report card data to identify where is there demonstrable need within our communities that would make a good candidate for a new TRIO talent search program, and who are those entities that are going to be writing the grants. If you do not have the capacity to write the grant yourself, that is where we can certainly help find partnerships and institutions that are willing to house these grants for you so that your students and your school can benefit from those services. With that being said, I hope that I've drawn your interest enough where you want to learn more. Obviously, this is not all the answers to every question you likely have put in this one video, but I'm more than happy to meet with every single individual school district, and go over more specific details and what the next step looks like specifically for you and in your communities. So if you have interest and you want more information, please reach out to myself, Matt Bezic. My email is executivedirector@oregontrio.org, and I will connect with you and we will find space to meet and where I can answer your questions, and we will do the work to kind of collaborate within the state and ensure that we can apply for as many of these grants as possible. With that, I appreciate you taking some moment to learn about the talent search programs, learn about this incredible opportunity, and I just have a call to action that if you want to see the lives of your low-income first-gen students impacted, I urge you, please look into this. We are here almost entirely to serve this purpose. Our nonprofit exists because we believe TRIO is just the best wraparound services education program that exists, and I think your students, your schools could benefit tremendously from having us in your space. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to collaborating with all of you. Take care.